Good morning, students. Once again, today we shall continue with solutions. See, the next part of the solutions is we are learning four colligative properties. Colligative properties of dilute solutions. See, dilute solutions behaves as more ideal than concentrated solutions. Now, colligative properties, this is totally a new word to you, is it not? What do you mean by colligative properties? See, there are some properties exhibited by particularly dilute solutions where solute is very less. These properties depends only on the concentration of the solute. These properties depends only on the concentration of the solute, or you can say number of solute. Concentration is nothing but, if you express in molarity or anything, moles, etc. So you can use the word number of solute, number of solute particles, molecules, which depends only on the number of solute molecules and not on the nature of solute, not on the nature of solute. For example, 0.1 m glucose, 0.1 mole glucose in 1 liter solution, correct now? 0.1 m urea, 0.1 m sugar, cane sugar. See, in all these three, their nature is different. But number of glucose molecules equal to number of urea equal to number of sugar. Negative properties of all the three is same. I repeat once again. Those properties of dilute solutions which depends only on the number of solute particles and not on the nature of solute particles are called colligative properties. One more question, I write it. Those properties of dilute solutions which depends only on the number of solute particles and not on the nature of solute particles are called colligative properties. Okay, they are called colligative properties. So, what one old question paper question is this? What are the only property on which colligative property depends? That is number of solute particles. Now, some of the colligative properties let us list. Some of the colligative properties let us list. See, four important colligative properties which you have to learn. For example, relative lowering of vapor pressure. This is one colligative property. Elevation in the boiling point of a dilute solution. Elevation in the boiling point. This is the colligative property. Depression in the freezing point. This is also a colligative property. Osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure is a colligative property. Okay? So we have to learn all these things one by one. You are going to get out of these four 1 3-mark problem based on the derivations of these properties. You are going to get a problem on this, and some 1-mark questions also can be expected from this chapter. Particularly, 2-mark questions are there in the under osmosis and osmotic pressure. So one property, let me try to, one or two properties, let us try to complete today. Okay. So the first colligative property, relative lowering of vapor pressure. See, this is a vessel having a pure solvent. Maybe water, pure water. These are the vapors of water, and the vapor pressure is P1 naught. You know that 1 stands for solvent, P1 naught. Now do one thing, add some sugar to this, and this is what? This is sugar in water or sugar solution, right? Now, according to your previous knowledge, mole fraction of water decreases because of the interference of sugar. And sugar is a non-volatile solute. Please listen to this word very carefully. What type of solute you are using? In all these study of dilute solution, this is, remember, solid in liquid. In all these things we are referring solid in liquid, where only solvent contributes vapor pressure. Okay? Solute is a non-volatile and it does not contribute any vapor pressure. Now, vapor pressure of this one is P1, and you all know P1 is less than P1 naught. This I have already told you. You read the heading now. Lowering of vapor pressure. Relative lowering of vapor pressure. So what is lowering of vapor pressure? Let us understand. Let us understand like this. Lowering of vapor pressure of pure solvent P1 naught, right? Vapor pressure of solution. What type of solution? Having non-volatile solute P1, correct? So whether P1 naught is more relative lowering of vapor pressure with respect to the vapor pressure of your solvent. How much is lower? This is lowered, relatively lowered. So I use short form relative lowering of vapor pressure. RLVP. What is that? Relative. Else I write full form. Relative lowering of vapor pressure. So this is lowering of vapor pressure divided by P1 now. Is this correct? This is relative lowering of vapor pressure. The ratio of lowering of vapor pressure to vapor pressure of the pure solvent. When a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a solvent to form the solution is called relative lowering of vapor pressure. I write here the ratio of lowering of vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of pure solvent when a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a solvent to form a solution is called relative lowering of vapor pressure. This is relative lowering of vapor pressure. Now, let us obtain an expression for relative lowering of vapor pressure. The expression for RLVP. I will take the help of Raoult's law, which I have already taught. In the previous class, I told you, when a non-volatile solute is dissolved in the solvent to form a solution, Raoult's law you have to apply. The vapor pressure of the solution is of a component is directly proportional to mole fraction of that component. Is it correct? See, here solute does not contribute any vapor pressure. P total is P1 plus P2. P total equal to P1 plus 0. Agree? Because solute is a non-volatile solute like sugar, urea, glucose. Now, by your definition, P1 is equal to, by definition of Raoult's law, x1 into P1 naught equation 1. Right, understand? P1 is equal to x1 into P1 naught. Now I will do like this. x1 plus x2 equal to 1. Is this correct? Total mole fraction of the solution, that is solvent plus solute, is totally 1. So I will do one thing. x1 I will express in terms of x2. So x1 is equal to 1 minus x2. So is it acceptable? Now you see from equation 1. From equation 1, P1 is equal to 1 minus x2 into P1 naught. P1 naught minus x2 P1 naught. Open the bracket. This is P1. I want this, remember. I want this. So x2 P1 naught you bring on the left hand side. x2 P1 naught equal to P1 naught minus P1. So this I have taken on the right hand side. This I have brought on the left hand side. Now I want it. x2 is equal to P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught. Is this correct? Is this correct? Now I write in the reverse fashion because I want an expression for RLBP. So write it in a reverse way. P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught equal to x2. See, it's a surprise actually. x2 is what? Tell me. Mole fraction of the solute. Yes or no? Suppose some mass of sugar is dissolved in some mass of water. You convert mass into mole. Then what is mole fraction of sugar? Number of moles of sugar divided by total number of moles of sugar and water. Is it correct? See, you have not done anything. You know only the mole fraction of sugar. But this is the beauty of Raoult's law. It is equal to relative lowering of vapor pressure. Now you see, you may be knowing the vapor pressure of pure water. You don't know vapor pressure of solution. But you know mole fraction of sugar because you have made and prepared. Then you have got vapor pressure of solution. Remember, you have not done any experiment. You have not done any experiment. You know mole fraction. You know vapor pressure of pure water at a particular temperature. Without experiment, experiments are there. Vast words, Walker's experiment is there. That is not there. In the old syllabus it was there, now it is not there. But without experiment, by the help of Raoult's law, you can find relative lowering of vapor pressure. So, you know relative lowering of vapor pressure because it is equal to mole fraction. You know vapor pressure of pure solvent. Then you will find vapor pressure of what? Solution. So, I will continue this equation. So, write an expression for this, meaning for this. This is a modified form of Raoult's law. It's a different form of Raoult's law once again. What is that? The relative lowering of vapor pressure. No. The relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of solute. Mole fraction of solute. When a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a solvent to form a solution is called is to form a solution. The relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of solute. When a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a solvent to form a solution at a constant temperature. So this is the mathematical form and that is the statement. I will give equation 2 for this. So from equation 2, I will continue this. From equation 2, you operate this. Look here. P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught is equal to x2, n2 by n1 plus n. So you agree? Mole fraction is equal to number of moles divided by total number of moles. 2 for solute, 1 for solvent. But the solution is dilute. What do you mean by dilute solution? N1 plus N2 is approximately N1. Solute is very, very less. This is applicable to dilute solution. So you can go for a correction where you can leave the solute concentration in comparison with the solvent. Addition and subtraction only, remember. In other cases, smaller quantities cannot be ignored. Now, from equation 3, P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught is equal to N2 by N1. N2 by N1. You can further continue. Further you can continue. What is N2? Number of moles of solute. What is the expression for definition of mole? Mass by molar mass. So I continue this. P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught. So stoichiometry. Knowledge of stoichiometry. N2. W2 by M2 divided by W1 by M1. Mass by molar mass. 2 for solute, 1 for solvent. Now to operate this P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught. W2 M1 divided by W1 M2. Mass of solute, molar mass of solvent. Suppose if it is water 18. Mass of solvent into molar mass of solute. This is what? Relative lowering of vapor pressure. The expression for, final expression for relative lowering of vapor pressure. Normally in the calculations, what will be asked is, calculate molar mass of the solute they ask. What will be asked? They normally give vapor pressure of pure solvent and vapor pressure of solution. Molar mass of the solute they ask because they don't give which solute it is. So where it is, solute is here, M2. So I will rewrite the expression. I will rewrite here. Molar mass of solute is given by M2 equal to, now you say, you bring M2 here. So one very important thing you have to notice. All colligative properties, not only this, including this, are reciprocal with molar mass. Molar mass is in the denominator, remember. As molar mass of solute increases, colligative property decreases. Try to understand. As molar mass of solute increases, okay, you compare for the same molar mass two solutes. Take 10 gram, 10 gram. One which is having more molar mass, less colligative property because it is in the denominator. So M2 is equal to, take it that, W2 M1 divided by W1 into P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught. Is it correct? So this is the final expression to work out what? Molar mass of solute. I will write every term where M2 molar mass of solute, M1 molar mass of solvent, W2 mass of solute, W1 mass of solvent, and P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught, this you are already knowing. P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught, this is RLVP. So if relative lowering of vapor pressure is known, molar mass can be calculated, and if molar mass is known, relative lowering of vapor pressure is calculated. Problem 3 mark problems are going to be asked from this equation. Now one more thing. In this equation I will show you why it is a colligative property. You observe this somewhere in between N2 by N1. Suppose if you take same amount of water, this relative lowering of vapor pressure depends on N2. N2 is number of moles. Number of moles proportional to molecules. So which component is not written here? For example, 0.1 mole urea, 0.1 mole. 0.1 mole glucose also we write 0.1 mole. So that means it depends only on number of solute particles. That is why it is a colligative property. Cross checking. I said no in the beginning definition of colligative property which depends only on number of solid particles. In the final expression also you are observing the same. It depends only on number of solute particles. Same 1 m urea, 1 m glucose means water is constant. The only thing is what you are changing the urea. Water is constant. If you change the urea, number of moles are changed means colligative property changes. Number of moles of urea, number of moles of glucose, number of moles of say sugar, sucrose, if all are same, colligative property is also same. So I think up to this you have to write down now. Now remember these derivations and all they never ask you. Only thing very important thing is now I work on problems. This is most important. Now let us work out some problems. See one problem I written here. Vapor pressure of pure benzene at a certain temperature is 0.85 bar. Vapor pressure of benzene. Benzene is a liquid, remember, like water. A non-volatile, non-electrolyte solid. Non-volatile, non-electrolyte. See, meaning non-volatile you have understood. Solute will not keep any vapor. Non-electrolyte why? For example, if you take NaCl, it becomes Na plus Cl minus. Number of particles gets doubled. So calculation fails because colligative property depends on number of solid particles. So then what to do? It should not be an electrolyte. It should not be an electrolyte. It should be a non-electrolyte. So non-volatile non-electrolyte solid weighing 0.5 grams when added to 39 gram of benzene. What is benzene? C6H6. The vapor pressure of solution is lowered to 0.845 bar. 0.85 to 0.845. So it's lowered. What is molar mass of substance? So you should write what are the things given here. W2 is how much? 0.5 gram. Please try to understand. W2 stands for mass of solute. W1 stands for mass of solvent. W1 is how much? 39 grams of benzene. Correct now? Then M1 is how much? Benzene. Molar mass of benzene, that is C6H6, 72 plus 6, but they are given already. I will write it, 78 gram per mole. Even if they are not given, you can calculate. For example, in entrance exam they don't give, they give the solvent. You should know the formula, from the formula you have to work out. Then what is P1 not 0.850 bar? What is P1? 0.845 bar. So I will work out first. M2 is question mark. Correct? I first two stages I do. First RLVP I calculate. P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught equal to 0.850 minus 0.845 divided by 0.850. 0.005 divided by 0.850. So 5 by 850. So with the help of calculator when you work out, the value will be 0.850 Okay, you can substitute directly. It will be having some values. So now coming to the next formula, M2 equal to W2 M1 divided by W1 into P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught. Now you can have the same value. Directly you can substitute. Once for all we will cancel. W2 0.5 into M1 78 divided by W1 39 into this I will write 5 by 850. Agree? Now 79, see this is 2 times. 850 goes to the numerator. 2 5s are 10.5. 1 into 850 divided by 5. Is it correct? 5 ones are 5, 7, 0. So 170 molar mass. What is the unit of molar mass? 170 gram per mole. So this is the way you have to work out the molar mass of the solute. It is your choice. You can directly substitute here also, no problem. For example, here you can substitute as 850 0.850 minus 0.845 divided by 0.84850. Also, you can substitute. So nothing wrong. But it is a 3-mark question. You have to write the formula. Writing the formula 1 mark. Correct substitution 1 mark. And final answer 1 mark. So this is how molar mass of solute can be calculated. Okay. Now another problem I will take where I am going to ask you relative lowering of vapor pressure. You read the second formula. Second problem. Vapor pressure of pure water at 298 Kelvin is 23.8 millimeter of mercury. Okay, atmospheric pressure is 760 millimeter of mercury. Remember, water is a liquid. Why? Because its vapor pressure is less than 760. 50 gram of urea. So they are given the solute. Molar mass is not needed to calculate because formula is given. Molar mass, you know, is dissolved in 900 gram of water. Calculate relative lowering of vapor pressure and also vapor pressure of solution. Because solvent they have given. So here I will write first molar formula for directly RLVP. So RLVP is equal to, I will write this one, P1 naught minus P1 by P1 naught equal to W2 M1 divided by W1 into M2. So here all the things are given. Okay, W2 how much? 50 grams of urea. 50 grams. What is M1? Since it is water, no? What is water? 18 gram per mole. H2O, water, 18 gram per mole. What is W1? How many gram? 900 gram. So this is 900. Then what is M2? M2 you have calculated NH2. CO NH2. 2 nitrogen are there, 28 plus 12 carbon plus 16 plus 4 hydrogen, 60 gram per mole. Urea molar mass 60. So substitute this. W2 50 into 18 divided by W1 900 into 60. 18 ones are 900, 5, so 50. 50 ones are 50. So 50 get cancelled. 1 by 60, right? So I will write here P1 naught minus P1 1 by 60. 1 by 60 if you work out 0.0167 you will guess 0.0167. So it has no unit because it's a ratio of vapor pressure. Okay, now one more thing I read. They have given P1 naught, they have given, yes or no? It's 23.8 millimeter of mercury. So if I substitute that P1 naught 23.8 minus P1 divided by 23.8 equal to 0.0167. So you work out this 23.8 minus P1 is equal to 0.0167 into 23.8. So it will be having a value. Is it correct? It will be having a value. You can work out that. And if you want, I will work out here. See, 0.0167 into 23.8, 0.39746. Okay. Now what is P1? Do one thing. 23.8 minus 0.39746 equal to P1, right? If you take it on the other side, so P1 is equal to 23.8 minus 0.39746. 0.39746. 23.40. This is in the unit of what? What is given there? Same unit. mm of mercury. So calculate RMVP. It is this one. What is vapor pressure of the solution? Also I have worked out. So this is how 23.8 is more than 23.4. How much is lowered? You have understood. So much less is lowered. Okay, this completes one of the colligative properties. Now one more colligative property I take. Second. Elevation in the boiling point. Elevation in the boiling point. Elevation meaning increase, nothing more than that. Increase in the boiling point. Elevated increase. See, try to understand the logic behind why it will increase. Again you have to come to vapor pressure concept. This is a vessel having pure water, pure solvent. So vapor pressure is P1 now. Correct now? Now I will take one more vessel. One more vessel is the same vessel to which I will add say sugar. Sugar is a non-volatile solute. Sugar solution. Since mole fraction of water decreases by the entry because of the entry of sugar, vapor pressure of water decreases. So vapor pressure is P1. So you always know P1 naught is more than P1. Okay. Now try to understand very well. I write here. Let P1 naught be boiling point of your solvent, that is water. Before that, you should understand what is boiling point. What is boiling point? Okay, take this water. Boiling point of water is T1 naught is 273 point. Boiling point of 373 100 degree 373.15 Kelvin. 273.15 of that plus 100. At this temperature, vapor pressure of water is equal to atmospheric pressure. Why water started boiling at this temperature? Okay, it was at 25 degree. It will not boil because vapor pressure is lesser. I have worked out the problem now. How much it was? 23.8 something. That is at 298 Kelvin. Now, when you started heating, vapor pressure started increasing. We don't know where is the boiling point. As and when vapor pressure started increasing, atmospheric pressure you should not forget. You are heating in a open vessel in the 1 atmosphere pressure. So, what is increasing? Vapor pressure started increasing. When that reached the atmospheric pressure, then suddenly water started boiling because it doesn't. Vapor pressure of vapor phase and vapor pressure of liquid are identical. Same. Then it is boiling point. Normal boiling point. I told you. Now the same concept we apply for solution. T1. Since vapor pressure is less, yes or no? Because of the entry of non-volatile solute. At the same temperature, maybe 298 Kelvin, 25 degree, vapor pressure is more here, vapor pressure is less. Now you start heating the solution. Again, this also has to reach 1 atmosphere, correct now? Until that it will not boil. Irrespective of nature of liquid, 1 atmospheric pressure is fixed. It says different liquids have different boiling points. All are at present at 25 degree. We started heating all of them. All of them we are giving conditions. What is that? See, you all should boil. When your pressure reaches what? At 1 atmosphere. Nodi. So those who are already having higher vapor pressure, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾಯಿಸಲು ಕೂಡಲೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. Those who are having low vapor pressure ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕಾಯಿಸಪ್ಪ. You heat me more. Temperature ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ತಾನೆ. So because of this concept, boiling point gets elevated because of vapor pressure. So now you see T1 is definitely more than T1 naught. Maybe ಎಷ್ಟು ಶುಗರ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ 374.15 at least 1 degree ಆದರೂ ಎಲಿವೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸುಮಾರು ಶುಗರ್ ಹಾಕಬೇಕು. So you understand why boiling point gets elevated? Because vapor pressure decreases. So when a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a solvent, vapor pressure of solution decreases. To make vapor pressure of solution equal to atmospheric pressure, high temperature must be supplied. So, boiling point of solution increases. So your explanation is in terms of vapor pressure. Simple explanation. Say vapor pressure of your solvent is lesser. Vapor pressure of solution is more. Vapor pressure of your solvent is more. When non-volatile solid is added, solution boils at height. So, what is elevation in boiling point? How much is elevation elevated? Let T1 not be boiling point of solvent. T1 be boiling point of solution. How much is elevated? Elevation in boiling point is T1 minus T1 naught. Is it correct? What is T1? Boiling point of solution. Solvent. So this can be written with a symbol delta Tb equal to T1 minus T1 naught. So give the meaning. The difference in boiling point of a solution having non-volatile solute and that of solvent is called the difference in boiling point T1 minus T1 is called elevation in boiling point. We can also represent it graphically. Look at this. I will represent it graphically. 2 mark question. Graphical representation of elevation in boiling point. In the y-axis you take vapor pressure and in the x-axis you take temperature. This is vapor pressure. This is temperature axis. Okay. Now I will take solvent. Temperature increases, maybe 25 degree, maybe water. This is the vapor pressure. I will mark the atmospheric pressure. I mark the atmospheric pressure. Okay. And this is 1 bar. And any liquid crosses this mark must be a gas or vapor because it is the boiling point. And this is 0. This is 1 bar for 760 millimeter of mercury, and it is also 1 atmosphere. Okay, go on increasing the temperature. What will happen? Vapor pressure increases. Directly proportional. Okay, increases. Still it is a liquid, not boiled. Now you have reached up to this temperature, 100 degrees, maybe water, and it is 1 bar. So this is the boiling point of water. T1 naught, temperature line. T1 naught. Now where is this is solvent. Now where is the solution? At the same temperature. Where this is the vapor pressure, this is the temperature. Where is the solution? Solution has lower vapor pressure at the same temperature. This is solvent vapor pressure. This is solution vapor pressure. Now you go on heating the solution. Vapor pressure start increasing. No, it has not reached 1 bar. At this 100 degree it will not boil because it has still not reached 1 bar. Now further go on heating it. Yes, now it will reach 1 bar and come to the temperature line. This is T1 and this is solution. And what is delta Tb? T1 higher minus T1 naught. This is delta Tb. Okay. So what is elevation in boiling point with graphical representation? Also we have understood. Now the next part is expression for elevation in the boiling point. This we will discuss in the next class.